Click, 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 click. Hello everyone, this is Take from bigheadtaco.com, and I'm here. What just happened there? I don't have a memory card in this camera. But anyways, I'm here at Herman Miller, Vancouver, and I'm here with my buddy, Jamshed Colah. I used to say Cola, but Cola, like the drink.
Cola, exactly.
Cola, very good. And we're here at Herman Miller Certified Dealer. And what's this thing, workplace?
So we're called Workplace Resource.
Yes.
And we're a Herman Miller Certified Dealer.
Very good.
Yeah.
I think we were supposed to start off sitting, but we ended up standing. But Herman Miller's famous for their furniture.
Absolutely, our legacy is in furniture.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about, I mean, I did a little bit of wiki research, but you're in the meat of it here, so explain a little bit about Herman Miller.
So Herman Miller is essentially office furniture. We do home furniture as well, but our legacy is definitely in the 40s and 50s. We have a lot of prolific designers we worked with in that era, and we still maintain that legacy today. So Charles and Ray Eames, Alexander Gerard, George Nelson, and all of their furniture is kind of in our studio here. But
yeah, I was going to say some of these are so iconic. Like right over here, what was this called again? It's a Japanese dude, right?
Yeah, so this is the Noguchi table. So he was originally a sculptor, but he did do some furniture designs for us.
And this is like 1950s,
60s, if I'm not mistaken.
1950s and 60s. It looks so modern still. And these chairs here?
This is Charles and Ray Eames aluminum group lounge chairs.
I like it. I like the colors too.
Yeah.
And then we were like sitting on chess pieces. We were going to sit on these chess piece type things, right?
Exactly. So once again, Charles and Ray design the walnut stools. So they're actually put together with wooden dowels. So they're quite intricate and gorgeous.
Can you sit on them either way?
I guess yes, but I think they're supposed to be to be this way.
Because unless you have
most surface area for you, I think, when you're sitting.
So let's make our way through to where we're going to talk, and then we can talk a little bit about. This is really cool too. I'm going to sit here. I like this.
Yeah, coconut chair.
Coconut. Why is it called coconut?
Because it looks like almost a piece of a coconut when you break a coconut into a few pieces. Yeah.
I like it. And can two people sit in here? I guess you just kind of sink to the center, right?
You kind of sink to the center. I mean, it would be really cozy.
I think so. This is cool. I like it. Excellent. Let's make our way through here. Actually, Herman Miller, you guys, you're famous for your office chairs now, right? Like a lot of people are...
Yeah, I mean, as much as our legacy is in industrial design in the 50s and 60s, we're iconic for work chairs now and performance task seating. That's more contemporary in design. Yeah,
I like the look of this, like the blue one at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Is it the same series?
Same series, but these are the task versions as opposed to the lounge versions at the front.
Very good, excellent. Yeah. Oh, this is kind of cool too. I like it. What's this one called? See, this is a test. I'm testing you.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a Geiger shell chair.
Very good.
Yeah, clamshell.
I like it. Oh, look at the back too. Yeah. This is like a formed
plywood.
Formed plywood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And then leather.
Leather.
Yes, it's leather. It's not pleather. Excellent. This is weird. This looks like a.
Yeah. So Herman Miller still works with all kinds of designers. This is an Italian design. It's called a spun chair.
Spun chair.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna. Should I?
You should try it. You should try it.
All right. I'm gonna be okay. Let's just see here. And what's? Yeah, but see, I'm sitting on important stuff now.
Yeah.
Oh, but I won't fall though, right? Oh, I get it.
And you're perfect.
I get it.
The physics are sound, Take.
Are they really?
Yes.
Okay, absolutely. I'm thinking maybe because my big head might throw the center off, but okay. But you're not watching movies sitting in this chair.
No, but you could. But it is perfectly balanced too, so you can even keep it upright.
Oh, cool. And maybe put a potted plant in there.
Exactly.
If you want to. I want to see. Okay, so where do you sit? Let's go to this.
Okay.
and also, people are probably wondering why are we talking about furniture. You'll figure it out in a few minutes why we're talking about these things. But this is your chair.
Yeah, absolutely. Like this is a Mira 2, and this is where I sit.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. Very good. And this is your favorite. I mean, you chose this one, right?
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite to sit in at the office.
how about the famous chair, the 1994 chair? Let's check that out.
Yeah, the Aeron chair.
That's like in a museum, right?
Yeah, so it's in the Museum of Modern Art, actually.
This one here.
Yeah.
Maybe you could model it for us.
Yeah.
But what's so great about, okay, I mean, it looks cool, I guess, but obviously it's functional as well, right?
Yeah, it was really noted as the first ergonomic chair ever.
In 1994, so before that, there were just
There was ergonomic chairs, but this is really iconic because it did it so well.
You sit and you tell me how it feels. Although you
It feels good. I mean, I've sat on one since I was probably 10.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Your mama works for Herman Miller.
Exactly.
As one of the designers.
Yeah.
In the design department.
Design department.
Very good. Excellent. So so you've grown up around well-designed furniture.
Yeah, exactly. I always like to tell people it's in my blood.
Yeah.
I grew up on an Aeron chair.
I like it. I grew up sitting on the floor because I'm Japanese. Excellent. So we set up here to sit down and talk. So let's sit down. We didn't even decide which side are we sitting, but looks like
my
you put
bag's
yours
on this side. So.
All right. So I'll sit over here. All right. We're finally sitting down, and people may be wondering, all right, what is this Herman Miller all about, and what does it have to do with photography? And what I realized is that when I was doing a little bit of background research, Herman Miller is quite famous for the modernist movement when it came to furniture design. And Leica was also included in that movement. I'll read a quote that I found on Wikipedia, and I think it encapsulates, and I think they were quoting from somebody else. So
absolutely, yeah.
Sorry for whoever originally said it, but basically says, a socially progressive trend of thought that affirms the power of human beings to create, to improve, and reshape their environment with the aid of practical experimentation, scientific knowledge, or technology. And I think that encapsulates Herman Miller, but as well as Leica cameras.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, the fact that you worked at Herman Miller, and the fact that you shoot with a Leica camera, and I thought that was maybe a coincidence or not a coincidence. But before we talk about that, let's go on another tangent. It's not really a tangent, it's a parallel thought. But how do we know each other? How did we meet?
Okay. Well, Take, I met you at Eric Kim's workshop when he came here for the first time to teach in Vancouver, which I was actually very excited because I was definitely a fan and I loved his work. And it was a great experience, and we learned a lot through his workshop. But one of the great things that came out of it was he kind of brought all these photographers in Vancouver, including yourself, together, and we kind of had a street photography community in Vancouver that may have not ever existed before. And yeah, you just kind of popped into the workshop. I don't think you were formally part of it to begin with. But
yeah, Eric saw me in the street and he's like, come on in. So I just kind of walked into the workshop. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to meet you. We met Terry G from Revolver,
absolutely.
And a whole bunch of other guys that we all kind of hang out now because of Eric. Yeah,
and it's a great feeling to know, you're not the only one doing this in your city, and sometimes you feel that way in Vancouver, but he really helped kind of facilitate that.
Exactly. Thank you, Eric. We appreciate it. And he did just come through, not a workshop, but he just came through for a bit, and we got to hang out with him a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
2 months ago? 3 months ago?
Yeah, it was a while ago. But.
Yeah, but anyways, but that was definitely how we met. But one of the things, okay, other than the fact that you shoot Leica, that's cool. Yeah. But then you working at Herman Miller, and then I did check out your photography, and there was a maturity to your photography that almost surprised me that you were at the workshop. Not that those that have a certain photographic aesthetic or style, or they've achieved a certain level, if you can even call it that they no longer need to take workshops. That's actually not true. Everyone can learn and grow. Doesn't matter how old or how young you are at photography. But at that time, you're only, how many years in were you into photography?
Maybe 2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
Yeah, I had thought that, we're 20 years apart in age. I thought you were older. Yeah. And by the way I act, you probably thought I was younger. But I didn't realize, by looking at your photos, it looked like you had been shooting for many years. And so that's what I like what I liked about your photography. So when you took the course ahead of time, what was in your head? Because by looking at pictures, it didn't look like you needed help in terms of composition or in terms of how to press the shutter. But obviously, you were looking for something.
I mean, thank you. I really appreciate that, first of all. But yeah, I mean, I took the workshop because I truly think that I did need help in those regards, and definitely it helped me in practicing those fundamental elements was great. But I mainly took the workshop because I was struggling with this idea of style and having my own style in my photography, and do I shoot film exclusively to get this consistent look that
Yes.
I think some of the prolific, let's say, Magnum photographers practice to get their style. And I think by the end of it, I kind of, from conversations with Eric and all the other photographers that were there, is if you're behind the camera, then it's automatically going to be your style.
Exactly.
So that was very reassuring for myself.
And you were quite, that's the camera that you had with you at the time.
Yeah.
And then you got an M9 after.
Yeah.
And then you sold the M9 after.
Yeah,
So you're back to film again.
exactly.
But it's going to be Leica. Now, what was your, tell us a little bit about your journey to find Leica, because you weren't born with a Leica in your hand, right?
No, no, I definitely wasn't.
It came a bit later.
Yeah, it definitely did.
So what was your first camera that you seriously started playing with?
Yeah, I mean, I had a school project to do at the end of grade 12 in high school, and I didn't really have a good camera at home. All I had was my mom's F50, which is actually a gorgeous DSLR that Nikon made.
Was it film though?
Or sorry, it was this film. It was an SLR.
Film.
See, you caught me,
Yes,
because
yes.
F50.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. It's the F.
Yeah, and I had that. I had no idea what I was doing. I actually had to go into a store and get them to teach me how to even turn it on or take a picture, because it kept giving me an error because there was no film in it.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, I came from definitely nothing, and I had to force myself to start with film with that camera. And then when I enjoyed it more and more, and Instagram, that kind of movement with social media helped a lot. I bought my first, let's say, serious camera. It was a D7000.
Okay.
And
Digital.
yeah, see, digital D.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that camera. I took it everywhere. I shot so much. I tried doing headshots for some of my friends. I took
You did weddings and stuff too?
I did weddings. I definitely helped out some of my more professional friends who were doing that, assisting them.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to travel to Southeast Asia. I took my D7000
Yes.
then. But before then, of course, when you are part of the photography community, you start researching a lot and becoming a student of it. And all the photographers that I loved, and I loved their aesthetics, shot with Leicas originally.
And the Magnum photographers. So name
exactly.
a few of them that inspired you.
I think obviously there's Bresson.
Yeah.
Then you have your Martin Parr. I don't think he shot with a Leica originally, but I loved his aesthetic. Elliot Erwitt famously shot with a Leica.
Yeah.
Bruce Davidson shot with one as well, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Joel Meyerowitz.
Yeah.
Who's quite iconic.
I think it almost
still now.
passed all of their hands, at least
Exactly.
at some point in the career,
and they were
right?
tools, right? They were not
We
these.
didn't worship them at the time.
Exactly.
It's just whatever works at the time is what they grabbed.
Yeah, they were bomb-proof.
Yes, exactly.
And so I was, just before I left for Southeast Asia, I actually saw this M2 in a used camera store window for next to nothing, and I bought it.
How much?
It was $600.
$600. That's Canadian, right?
Yeah.
So Americans, that's like $450 US, and this is a minty M2.
Yeah, so it was
very
the fully
nice.
loaded M2 as well, right?
Yeah.
So it has the timer on it.
You mentioned in Japan, somebody saw it and they gave you a thumbs up or something?
Absolutely,
Did you go to a store?
Yeah,
And some dude's like,
yeah, Lemon. I went to
oh,
Lemon.
Lemon. Yeah, Lemon in Tokyo. If you watches and cameras.
Exactly.
It's a toy store So he gave you the thumbs up.
Yeah. He definitely did. So I was very grateful and lucky to even find it.
Yeah.
And I kept it for, I think, a year before I was able to actually buy a lens. Because the lenses were so much more expensive.
Yes,
than
of
I
course.
even thought
Yeah.
they would be.
So you had this body for a year.
Yeah.
And so let's go back to Herman Miller and like in terms
Yeah.
of a form follows function, a function follows form, or aesthetics. Clearly, even with Herman Miller, we talked a little bit about the philosophy of Herman Miller and what is that when it comes to design and function. Because I mean, office furniture, chairs, they're all functional. Cameras, they're functional. They're designed to take pictures, but there is an aesthetic quality that's important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at any of the classics, even from Herman Miller's world, anything designed really by Charles and Ray, aluminum group chairs, plywood chairs that you saw when you were coming in, they were minimalist designs. So they had to be beautiful, but they also had to be extremely functional and durable. They were put in classrooms. They were put in workspaces.
Yes.
So yeah, they had to work 24 hours a day at times, but they still had to be aesthetically beautiful.
Yes.
That was important as well.
And so that's kind of why you knew you were going to eventually shoot with it.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't going to just sit on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's a double strokes? No, it's a
single stroke.
Yeah, because you said it was one of the last.
It was one of the last.
100?
Leicas. When I went to the Paris Leica store, they were really nice. They looked up the archive for me with the serial number. So.
Thank you, Paris Leica.
Yeah.
And yeah, was it the last 100 or something like that? The last 1,000?
Yeah, it was one of the last ones. I can't even remember, but...
you won't have to say there.
Yeah, but it was one of the fully loaded, so it had everything. It was single stroke.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great little M2.
So you waited a year.
Yeah.
You finally got your 35 lens.
Yep.
And let's talk a little bit about. Okay, so after researching the greats, you realized that Leica was kind of the way you wanted to go.
Yeah.
And you liked the design, but as well the function. Now, what have you noticed? So when you went to the M9, was it more a matter of digital versus film, or is it? How did you compare the feel of the M9 to the M2?
The M9, it felt bigger, funny enough, in my hands. It is a bigger camera, the digital Leicas
Thicker,
are.
yeah. You can even tell when you look at that, that's definitely thicker, right? A little bit taller.
Totally, and it definitely felt that way,
Yeah.
but I think it was definitely more of a digital versus film aesthetic. I mean, the M9 took gorgeous photos.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that.
We'll post some of the pictures.
Yeah.
Some of the pictures that were shot on the M9.
Yep, most of them, my favorite ones are definitely from India. I went to India recently.
Yes,
yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. How about your Japan trip?
Japan trip, no M9, pure film. I thought I would, Japan is obsessed with film, so I thought I would.
And where's the film?
Film is in my freezer, so I haven't developed it yet.
He's pickling. He's pickling the film.
Yes.
We need that right away. So you'll have it up on your website.
Yes.
So
soon.
Go to what's your? We'll put it down somewhere.
Yeah,
but
it's jamshedcolah.com. We'll put it down there.
jamshedcolah.com. But you must post those. I'm actually anxiously waiting for those Tokyo pictures.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to use this philosophy of letting them marinate before I see it, but we'll...
That's the Eric Kim line. I remember him saying that. Thank you, Eric, for letting him marinate his film. Speaking of film, what happened to your Japan Camera Hunter
I got it.
thing?
I got it right here.
Let's take a look a little bit of the film here. So let's... All right, I'm going to do I worked in a lab before, so I know the smell of film. So I did take a peek earlier. So we have some Portra 400.
Yep.
Which is... the color film to shoot.
Yeah, and India was all Portra 400. Obviously, colors are rich, so.
Yeah, and we'll post those pictures. Beautiful, beautiful. I love the little hints of color that you had in pictures. You know, and there was still kind of a muted look to the images as well. And here is, you know what? It's funny. I've never. what is
400 extra.
Extra 400. What does the extra mean? I should know this.
I honestly, I have no idea. It's my backup color film.
Is it?
Yeah.
How is it?
It's fine. It's okay. It reminds me of Pro 400H.
Yeah. Does it?
Yeah. So
we should swap.
The cyans come out a lot.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have some in a box still?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll swap some. I'll give you some 400H, and you give me some of this, and I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And what else do we have in here? All the same? Is it all the same? There we go. Oh, we got 200. Does it come 200 and 400?
I don't know what the 200 is.
What's that?
Here.
What's that?
Yeah, no, this is again just spare color film.
Spare color film. So I'm actually surprised you don't have any. I didn't really realize this till now, but you don't shoot much black and white.
I don't, but funny enough, Japan was all black and white.
Was it really?
Yeah.
And that's and Tri-X?
Tri-X, yeah.
Of course, Tri-X. Not Delta, right? Not
Nope.
Ilford Delta? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I loved it. You know, Ilford was the first film I ever shot on that F50 that I had.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Because you have to develop and stuff like that. Is that what you did?
Yeah, for school, and Ilford, I think, is the choice when you're learning in high school, maybe. Yeah.
And then you finally found your way to try X.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, so let's go to the subject of film versus digital. Why did you go back to film after going to digital?
Yeah. I think I have to say this right off the bat. One is definitely not better than the other. They have their merits, both of them. I've taken amazing shots in film and I've taken amazing shots in digital. It's really about the photographer, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this rhetoric now that film is better now. Film is making a resurgence. It's true, but I wouldn't say one medium is better than the other inherently. But why do I shoot film now? Because, I mean, I have a full-time job. I go to school full-time. And film is romantic in the way that it makes me feel when I shoot it, I think, as cheesy as that sounds.
No, it's not cheesy at all.
Personal, almost.
Of course, yes.
And my photography, I think, is getting a little more personal. So I enjoy film in that regard. It slows me down as well a little bit.
Yeah. You don't do the double shot, the triple shot that Eric Kim is famous for. He's fast. So have you seen him do it?
Yeah, it's extremely fast.
Really, really fast. But you try to take more of a and that's the thing I noticed about some of your pictures. That your India pictures, there's a bit of a maturity in that. I saw a Bresson-esque style in that you framed. We talked a little bit about layers, right? So I could tell the moving, the blurred subject, or whatever it was in the middle or foreground. That obviously came into your frame. But something in the background, you thought a lot about how to frame it, right? Like you must have stood,
exactly.
On some of the shots, you must have stood there for a bit to make sure that something came in.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're in India and you're traveling through Rajasthan, you go to the Taj Mahal, you go see Photowalks Sikri and all these famous sites.
What was that word? What?
Photowalks Sikri.
Photowalks
Sikri.
Sikri.
Yeah.
Okay. Photowalks
Sikri.
Okay.
You say it in Japanese way. That's nice. I like it.
Is it really? Did they say Japanese? I didn't even realize. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, you took fantastic pictures, but they looked well framed.
Yeah, I mean,
well
I think
thought out.
You know, when you go to India and you go to Tokyo in a way, sometimes New York as well, it's so overshot. And when I was in India, you're standing in front of these amazing temples, and you have to figure out a way as a photographer to make it creative, make it your own. Bring maybe street photography that you learn in Vancouver here.
Incorporate it.
Yeah, so I did spend a lot of time just sitting and thinking about how do I actually make this creative? How do I make it unique? A photo that's not taken every...
And you're shooting with your 35?
Yep.
And we talked a little bit about, I'm a 28 guy, but I have a lot of respect for 35 as well. I could have gone either way. I liked a little bit of extra width to bring in a little bit more element, and as well the depth of field. We talked a little bit about when you first start off, you want that bookalicious, super shallow depth of field.
Exactly.
And then you were mentioning a little bit, so explain a little bit about as you matured in your photography, you wanted to change that aesthetic a bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just me, but when I first got into photography, you start to get obsessed with this sense of, oh, my lens is 1.8. Now everything must be 1.8. My aesthetic is 1.8.
Yes.
Which is not good, and it's maybe a more immature way of looking at your photography initially, which is good because you learn the elements, which is fantastic. But I think when I matured a little more, then I shot at f5.6 and f8 because layers became important. You're trying to tell stories, and that's what I tended to learn when I went through photography books. Photographers are telling stories. And f8, f16 even.
That's tough with film, ISO 400.
Yeah.
Not too many nighttime shots at f8, f16.
No, there's
most of your pictures are during the day.
They are.
So you're getting decent 1/500th of a second kind of stuff, right? 1/750th maybe.
Exactly. Exactly. But I guess the aesthetic got better when I did shoot at I guess higher apertures in that regard.
So I actually saw a little bit of a Steve McCurry-ish kind of travel, but also almost photojournalistic in that you're trying to tell a story with one picture. And your eyes kind of roam throughout the image. And that's great about a picture that you could linger on it. Where if there was just this bokeh-licious picture of one person and the background's completely blurred out and there's nothing in the foreground except the subject, you look at it and go, wow, beautiful eyes, and then you go to the next picture. But a lot of your pictures, you kind of linger, and I like that because some of the shots, you explained to me one of your pictures of that bathroom. Was it a bathroom?
Yeah.
And when people are ordering prints, you're like, why is everyone ordering this? Because it is like storytelling.
Yeah.
You look at it and like, look at this washroom. And what's going on? Why is it dead? What time of day is it? Where is this?
Exactly.
So that's why people like that picture.
It's, and sometimes I'm surprised by what people like, which is good, which is fantastic, and that's how you learn.
Yeah.
I think sometimes photography is the cameras are so good, the Photoshop is so good, everything's so good that it's hard sometimes to take a shot that's maybe not perfect, that tells the story stronger than the perfect shots that the technology can make now.
Postcard pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you find an Instagram account and everything is technically correct.
Yeah.
But you just flip, and then it doesn't move me. And I look through and some people are like, oh, this person, I won't name names, but it's like 400,000 followers, 1.2 million followers, look at the pictures, wow. And you're like, yeah, but it's boring. And then you see some kid, that just new to photography and they're just seeing the world from a different angle. Maybe even their height makes a difference, the medium they're shooting. And it's so creative and so powerful, this moving. And that transcends technology.
It does, and I would argue, like a lot of photographers would argue now, it's harder to take a better photo now.
You find that?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I mean, sometimes you have to stop looking at the amazing photos out there to make sure that you can make an amazing photo that's unique to it.
Yes.
But I think we have, I would argue, a harder time with it now because everything is so accessible and so good and so perfect.
Yeah. We talked also a little bit about, so you start off with SLR, and a lot of photographers, like including myself, I tell people I have more SLRs and DSLRs than I have any other camera. I've been shooting for 20 years. But we all tend to sort of find our way to more weird, I don't want to call it weird, but just like, for instance, rangefinder.
Yeah.
Those who don't get it, try to explain why you like and why many street photographers enjoy shooting rangefinder.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I have a close friend who challenges me on it all the time. He always says it makes literally no sense.
Exactly.
Rangefinders are inaccurate. They don't take better photos. So I guess there's this romantic element to using them, but also the big thing for me with rangefinders that I love is I feel like I'm part of the process of making the photo a little more. I mean, the lenses are manual. Between the lines of the frame, right, you don't get this with an SLR. You can literally see what's outside of your frame if you keep your left or right eye open.
What eye dominant are you?
I'm right eye dominant.
Oh, lucky
so
you.
I can keep the left eye open.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I'm left eye dominant, so it doesn't work for me. But yeah, so that's the biggest thing, I think, for street photographers, is to be able to see outside the frame lines.
Yeah.
And the new Leica Q is actually kind of cool because it has a feature where the JPEG will crop, so you can crop into like I think up to about 50 mil.
Yeah.
But the viewfinder is a 28 mil. So you could see a lot outside the frame.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah, so you can frame it, and then the RAW file keeps the full 28 mil, but the JPEG crops in.
Yeah.
So if you're shooting and looking for certain, so for instance, I even tell people with Instagram, shoot square if you're going to post square, so that you know where all the edges are. Don't shoot at whatever it is, vertical, horizontal, and then when you crop, you realize, oh, I should have taken a step back. Because I wanted that light pole in, but as well I wanted a little bit of that corner of that car in there. And when you shot at 4:3, those two elements can't be forced into a square. And then people start changing the vertical horizontal just to make it fit. So same with the rangefinder, it is beautiful that you can see outside the frames.
Yeah.
And I think that's to me, at least when I shoot rangefinder, that's the biggest advantage. Is to be able to see things coming in. Into your frame.
I agree, and I mean, when you start using it, it's frustrating at first, but one of the other biggest advantages I find with it is hyperfocal distance.
Yes.
And that helps you take and you cannot do this, I don't care how fast your SLR is, you can't take portraits at a split second on the street like you can with a rangefinder, because you can set it, hey, I'm a meter away, I'm at f8,
you know it's going to
6 inches forward, 6 inches right, I'm good.
Yeah.
If I get the framing right, it's perfect and I can take it right away.
Yeah.
SLR, autofocus, or even manual focus, you never really know if you got it properly, and you can't be as fast.
No, and also, and that also goes as well with zooms too, because when you see the world in one focal length, like for me it's 28 mostly, for you it's 35, you almost know, almost without even looking, right? Like how far away you're from the, like what are you, like what, when you do a portrait, is it about 8 feet, 6 feet?
Yeah.
When you try to shoot from the hip?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so for me, I know it's about 6 feet.
Yeah.
5.5 feet, and I almost know without even looking, and that's why I like the Ricoh GR. There's no viewfinder, but half the time I say I don't even need to look. I just put it up against my chest like this and shoot, and I already know my angle of view, right?
Yeah,
so that's another advantage of shooting with a camera without using a zoom.
Yeah.
So these things that seem like it helps, autofocus, zoom lenses, a viewfinder that gives you 100% of what you see, all those things seem like, oh, that why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah.
Rangefinder where you're not looking through the lens but off to the side, you're using a non-zooming, no autofocus, those might seem like minuses to a lot of photographers, but once you start shooting this way, you're actually faster, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. You're not missing a shot, and if you did, it's kind of on you in a certain way, which is definitely interesting, especially for your learning, your everyday learning of shooting.
Exactly. Elisa.
Yeah.
What's her last name again?
Villani.
Villani. So Elisa Villani, she is your girlfriend, fiance. You're gonna marry the girl, right?
Yeah. I can say that on YouTube.
Very good.
Yeah.
Can you say that? Okay.
I can say that.
so she is an actress.
Yeah.
Right. She did Little Mosque on the Prairie. She's on the new
X-Files.
New X-Files. Can we say that?
We can.
We
can say that. We can say that now.
Okay. Very good. So she's also a very creative, and she also, you met her at SFU.
I met her at SFU in Contemporary Fine Arts class.
Contemporary Fine Arts.
So
very good. So you have your mom, who's a designer for Herman Miller. Your fiance is an actress. You're surrounded by many creative people. You have 3 pursuits that seem disconnected, but you've just showed us they are connected. And me asking what your 5-year plan is like asking someone who's doing something they're enjoying right now, like skydiving or snowboarding. And in the middle of it, I'm like, what are you gonna do next? It's like, dude, I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. Don't bother me.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I bothering you by asking 5-year plan?
No, I just hope that I'm as happy and content in all these facets in 5 years than I am today. So
I think
I'm
that's
sure
great.
it'll be fine.
I think it's great. Lisa, you got yourself a good man. And Mama Jam, what's your mom's name?
Shireen.
Shireen, you have a good son. I think that it's fantastic that you are young and you know what you want. You're successful, at least it seems so. I don't know what your grades are at school.
Yeah, that's true. I might be on the cusp of getting thrown out.
Really?
We'll see.
Perhaps.
No.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But you seem to excel at all the things that you do. I enjoy your photography very much.
Thank you.
I can tell you weren't trying to copy. I mean, we all study the greats because we're inspired by them.
Of course.
And you made a point about not trying your best not to just copy them, right? That you're trying to spend less time looking at other photographers.
Yeah, and create a style of my own.
Exactly. And I think you're doing that with your photography. So
thank you.
Good work so far, but we are never done, right? We're always evolving and changing. And this is leading to something. This whole reason why you're on the show.
Okay, right? I'm excited.
You're excited?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna show the viewing audience us not sitting, but we will actually be shooting.
That's dangerous. That's exciting.
And we've done this before. This isn't the first time.
Yeah.
And I wish at those times we had my producer and we had a camera, because we've had Edwin. He was a fantastic, remember he was the busker with the missing fingers. I think he served in the Canadian military. He invited us up
to his apartment to take photos.
Yes. We were scared at first, and he's like, come into my apartment. We're like, what? But then we're like, but there's 2 of us and 1 of him.
Exactly.
But he took us up to the roof of his building.
Yeah.
And we got some really great shots. So hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get that same, I know we will.
We will.
Just like me and Terry, when you go out.
It's always an adventure.
All these people just seem to kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure you and I will shoot. What do you want to shoot?
I-
Don't say India, don't say Paris, don't say...
Not Gastown.
Okay, not
Let's say that,
Gastown.
not Gastown
Okay, so
in
we're going to
Vancouver.
shoot not Gastown.
Yeah.
But we'll pick a place.
Yep.
And then, are you going to shoot film or digital?
Film, but I'll get it developed quickly just for you.
Are you sure you're not
Yeah.
going to let it pickle?
No.
What was that term? Not
No
pickle.
pickling.
Marinade.
Marinade, yeah,
Exactly.
marinade.
So no marinating.
Marinating.
Marinating is that the same? I wish I knew. I don't know. But anyways, don't pickle your film.
Yeah.
We're gonna showcase it right away, and I'll
Perfect.
be shooting whatever review. Should I shoot film too? What do you think?
Yeah.
You want to challenge?
Yeah.
Are you gonna challenge me?
Film photo walk.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I have my 40. You have your 35.
Yeah.
We'll both shoot the same film. We'll just
Exactly.
fight over no delta. So either it's
No
gonna
delta.
be Tri-X or Pro 400H.
Sure.
One of the two
Absolutely.
films, right? And we'll do that
Yeah.
soon. So best of luck to all your pursuits. Thank you for coming on to my show.
No, thank you.
I really appreciate
Thank you.
it. So let's close off with a click, click.
Okay, you got
You
it.
have your M2.
We got some practice with this, so I can do this.
Yes, very good. Oh, it keeps on making that click. You know what it is? There's no card in here. So that funny sound you heard before is because there's no card in here. So are you gonna really do are you gonna do a click?
I'm gonna
click
do a
with me?
click, click, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cheat and go on continuous mode. You're not gonna use film right now.
Nope.
You sure you don't want to take a picture of my producer?
There you go.
Oh, did you just take a picture?
I just did.
Really?
Yeah.
By accident or
By
on purpose? By
accident.
accident? Oh man, that's like 35
That's
cents.
yeah.
Okay, anyway, so thank you so much for watching
Yeah.
and happy shooting. Click,
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 click.
click.